Hey, welcome back. This will be our second video series on how to use Autodesk Revit. In our previous video series, I showed you how to take a pre-made shed file and edit it so it looks like what you see on the screen here. In this video series, I'm going to show you how to take this little shed and edit it and make it larger and turn it into what we're going to call a tiny home. In this particular video, I'm going to show you how to turn this file into a different file type, or different file name, I should say. And then we're going to be adding in a variety of components, both inside and outside of our shed, to really get a good grasp or understanding of how much space the items that we need to put into our shed are actually going to take up. So let's get started. First, we're going to go up to the top with our floor plan tab open, and we're going to choose File, and we're going to be changing it as far as the name, so we'll go to Save As, and then click on Project. A new window is going to pop up. I'm going to leave mine saved into my Architecture folder, but if you maybe had yours saved into the wrong space and it's just on your desktop, now would be a good time to double-click and add it to that Architecture folder. It is possible in a Windows computer to add another folder at any point and just add it to that new folder. And then in the file name, we're going to leave our name in there, but then we're going to call this Tiny Home. Don't worry about adding anything after the word tiny home like .rvt, because Revit will do that for you. And now I'm going to click on Save. Revit's going to do all the work in the background for me. Up at the way top, you're going to see that the name of my file changed. It says Fall Tiny Home. And every time I change to a different tab, it's still going to be that new project. Both of these are still connected, and if I wanted to open up my shed, I still could, but we're going to continue editing this tiny home. So let's get started by moving around some furniture so we can add in some plumbing, because we're going to add in some plumbing features and fixtures, but I can't do that without having a wall and a floor to place them. So there we go, move those out of the way. Now I'm going to deselect that chair so I can load family. And let's go back to component and click on load family. And I want to add in not furniture, but plumbing features or fixtures. So I'm going to go to my English Imperial folder from my drop down. And then I'm going to scroll down to the P's for plumbing. I'm going to do a fast double click. And I'm going to choose the architectural folder for everything that we do in class as far as plumbing features and fixtures. And I'm going to go into this fixtures folder. I do not need to go into equipment. I'm going to go into fixtures. And in this fixtures folder in plumbing, I have a bunch of different folders. I have bathtubs, drains, drinking fountains, showers, sinks, urinals, and water closets. And you might be thinking, well, where are the toilets? Because I got to add a toilet into the bathroom. They're actually water closets. That's what Revit calls them. So we're going to do a fast double click on that folder. And here we have them. Please make sure for class that you are not choosing the commercial toilets. That's just not what we need, because we are building a house, not a commercial building like a school or a store that we go shopping at. We're building a house, which would be domestic. If you look at the 3D one, you can see that it looks really neat here in this view. However, when we load that 3D toilet into Revit, it doesn't show up on our floor plan. And we really need our toilet to show up on our floor plan. So I'm going to have you choose the domestic 2D toilet and then click on Open. And then go ahead and place that toilet. It won't let you drop it anywhere in the middle of the room. You have to have your cursor kind of close to the wall. Go ahead and place that toilet inside. Now, it's going to look great on your 2D view. However, because it is only a 2D toilet, when you go to your 3D view, it is literally invisible. It's there, you just can't see it. So don't worry about that. We know it's a thing, but there's nothing we can do about it. We need to see it here. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up to Load Family. And now, instead of being in water closets, I'm going to go back up to fixtures, and I am going to load in a shower. I could load in a bathtub, however, this is just a tiny home and I want to try to conserve space, so I'm going to be loading in a shower. Again, I'm going to double click, and I only have one shower stall, so I'm going to click on Shower Stall 2D, and I'm going to place that inside my shed as well. Just with a simple click, I want to drop that shower, so I'm going to hit escape 2 times on my keyboard. And because that said it was 2D, this is also only visible in 2D, so here I am looking at my 3D view, and my shower stall is here on my other view, but not on my 3D. It's okay, no big deal. What really matters is the floor plan. Another thing that we're going to need in our bathroom is we're going to need a bathroom sink. So we're going to go back to Load Family in our component tool, and we're going to go back to Fixtures, and I'm going to go to Sinks. Now in this Sinks folder, I'm going to have both kitchen and vanity. We definitely don't need to choose a mop sink. That would be for like a janitor's closet. I want you to stick to these vanity sinks. You can choose to either add in a square vanity or a round vanity sink. There are a bunch of other different styles of sinks. Most of these other sinks are going to be at a kitchen counter height, like you see here with the kitchen sinks. So let's just stick with vanity because we're working on bathroom fixtures right now. I'm going to choose this square one, click on Open, and I am going to place this vanity sink right here. Now it's not going the way I want it to. See how the faucet's coming out on a funny angle? So I'm going to try hitting my space bar. And as I hit my space bar, it allows me to rotate that sink around to go the right direction. And I dropped that sink, and then I'm going to hit escape 2 times to not have that sink anymore actively moving. Now, when I first put that sink in, it was literally hiding inside my wall. So all I did was I hit the escape button 2 times. Then with my modify tool, I selected my sink, and on my keyboard, I just hit an arrow button to move that sink exactly where I wanted it to go. And just like our other things, let's check out what it looks like in 3D. So there it is. I do have a bathroom sink. And the last thing I want to do is I want to add in a little bit more furniture that I might need to add in to really get an idea of how small is this actual shed that I'm working with and how much bigger do I need to expand things. And I'm also going to add in a couple of kitchen appliances because, well, I'm making a tiny home. I'm going to need some kitchen appliances. So I'm going to go back to Component. I'm going to go to Load Family, and I'm going to go find the easier one first. So the easier one is going back to English Imperial and looking in the Furniture folder. Again, everything is sorted alphabetically. So I'm going to go into Furniture. I'm going to go into the Beds folder. Let's try that again. I have to be on the folder, not the words. And I'm going to choose this shaker bed. I don't need to worry about the size of the bed that I'm selecting right now because once I click Open, I'll be able to change to a different size bed once I load it in. I'm going to choose a queen size bed and put that in. I'm going to choose and add in a twin size bed. And just so you get an idea of how much space each bed is taking up, I'm going to add in a king size bed. Just an idea. We'll be moving those around later on. And now some kitchen appliances. So I'm going back to my component tool. I'm going back to Load Family. And now I need to find kitchen appliances. So we would hope to look under the K's for kitchen, but there isn't anything. And then we might think, oh, they're in plumbing, but they're not. All of our appliances are actually in a folder called Specialty Equipment. So go ahead and find that Specialty Equipment folder and double click. And in the Specialty Equipment folder, we have a lot of very specific folders within there. We need to look inside the folder that says Domestic. So I'm going to hover on that one and do a fast double click on the yellow folder. And then in my Domestic folder, I have an option to choose high end, which would be the big fancy built-in refrigerators, the big fancy Wolf stoves or ranges, or I can choose mid-range, which is probably what most of you have at home. The appliances we'd find at Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, things like that. And then if you want to just do real basic, I'm using my arrow keys, you could load in these really basic appliances as well. But I really tend to enjoy the ones that we see inside our mid-range folder. So opening up that mid-range folder, I'm going to explain just a couple of these to you. We have some things called a cooktop. So that's like what you make dinner on at home, but you probably don't have just a cooktop and nothing below it. You probably have at home a range, which is the stove that you cook on, and then the oven built right in underneath. Some of you in your house might have a double oven, which is there's not a cooktop on top where you make macaroni and cheese or ramen, but a double oven is off to the side in your kitchen, and it's 2 ovens stacked on top. Maybe you want to add in a microwave. We have a couple of different refrigerator options. We have a washer-dryer combo. Those are really common in Europe, where you can wash and dry your clothing in one appliance. We have a top load and a front load washer, and we have a dishwasher and a dryer and a front load dryer. So I'm going to pick a couple and I'm going to load them in. For sure, I'm going to start with a dishwasher. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to place my dishwasher right next to my sink. It's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. I'm going to load family. I'm going to go back and I'm going to load a washer-dryer combo. And I'm going to put that in there. I know right now that they're stacked on top of other things. That's okay. In an upcoming assignment, I'm going to move things around. I'm going to add in a gas range, just so I'm getting an idea of how much space this is actually taking up. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a French door refrigerator. And again, some of these items are just going to go outside of my space, so I really can get an understanding of how much my tiny home is going to have to be expanded to fit everything in. Don't forget to save and screenshot this section to show your teacher your progress.